Well, hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to OLC TV for some more Total War 3 Kingdoms, the new Fates Divided DLC. Thank you very much to CA for giving me early access. And today, for our faction preview series, we are looking at the new faction added to this, and that is the faction of Liu Yan, or Liu Jung, if you start in the 200 CE start date. Now, I am picking the 194 just so we can have a look at Liu Yan himself. Of course, Liu Yan dies between 194 and 200, so if you click on the 200, you get Liu Jung. Now, Liu Yan is a governor. He's the governor of Izhou, and he's an old man as this has started. His elder sons have died in a failed rebellion. He has a court that's a little bit in flux. He's lost some territory to the general Zhang Lu and Zhang Xiu. Though he has maintained an element of indirect control over that area anyway and maintained the peace. He has some loyal soldiers who are these unique troops here, the Dongjo Bing, who are soldiers who come from eastern China. They are Han refugees from the chaos in the east who have come over to Izhou, and he has formed them into regiments. They are non-native to the area he is in, but they are loyal to him 100%. And he has archers and spears in this game, which is really quite nice. Now he, as you can see, has a good selection of initial starting characters if we look at them, though they are not particularly wary. The first one we have is Farjung here. Now Farjung, the vindictive strategist, he is famous because he is the guy who basically enabled Liu Bei to usurp Liu Jung's position as governor of Izhou. He tried to actually make some sort of deal with Cao Cao beforehand, but it completely failed. So instead he saw Liu Bei as a credible alternative. He was part of, after the Battle of Red Cliffs, he was part of the initial diplomatic setup that allowed Liu Bei to send troops in to nominally help Liu Jung, but actually to take control. He gave him all the insider information, and there were other people in his group who supported, but he was the leader of that group. And then he rose to become so powerful within Shu Han that actually even Zhuge Liang could not stop him. Zhuge Liang's answer when he was confronted with a list of crimes where Farjung had used his position of power to basically eradicate people and their families who had stood against him at some time or another for some slight, whether real or imagined. Zhuge Liang said, well, there's nothing I can do because without Farjung, Liu Bei would not have this position of power. So he's a nasty, nasty piece of work. Very clever man though, and even though he and Zhuge Liang did not get on, they both very much respected each other as far as we know. Then of course there's Liu Jung, who is the eldest surviving son. I believe he might be also the only known son we know to survive this far. He was not supposed to be the heir. Liu Yan's elder sons actually were part of a failed rebellion against Li Jue immediately after Dongzhuo's death, and they were killed in the ensuing fighting. So Liu Jung has taken over, and Liu Yan wants to set up the whole of Izhou so that his family can prosper in this area in their own basically independent world, because it is semi-cut off from all the chaos that is happening. Now Liu Yan is an opportunistic ruler. He has a starting situation that's easy, and I'll explain that when we look on the map because it is rather easy. He has this aspiration as his game plan, where he has to prepare to pass the torch to Liu Jung, and you stockpile this thing called aspiration, which you can use to unlock bonuses for your heir. And basically make his life easier when Liu Yan eventually abdicates or dies and he takes over. And you do have the choice to abdicate at any stage, which is quite nice as well. He has the unique units of the Dongjo Bing, which we've discussed, and we'll see those in-game. The inheritance, which I'll show in-game as well in more detail. And his character is this: he's ambitious, he's deceitful, he's superstitious. He reduces character salary and redeployment cost, and he gets plus 10 faction support, which is really quite nice. Liu Yan's journey to power and independence has been hard fought. With his legitimacy almost solidified, the final and crucial steps lay before him. He believes that the current rulers of China are unfit for their role, and that none other than he must take the reins of China. He makes bold moves towards achieving his goals by taking enormous risks and claiming gargantuan rewards. The one thing Liu Yan cannot scheme away is time. As it marches unstoppably forward, Liu Yan must consider the future of his legacy and who will carry his torch after he is gone. Now, Liu Yan is over here in Yizhou. He has a vassal here, which is Zhang Lu, and he has used... Zhang Lu used to be one of his officers in this area, but he set off his own 5 peck of rice version of yellow turbanism in Hanzhong. And actually this suited Liu Yang rather well because it kept a buffer between Liu Yan and all the chaos that was happening in the north and central plains. There are the Nanman to the south, of course. Now, how did Liu Yan actually end up here? Originally, he wanted to be the governor of Jiaozhe down here. He was trying to leave the corruption of the court, and as a member of the imperial family, in much the same way that Liu Biao or Liu Bei were, in that actually they're not really that closely connected to the imperial family. You've got to go back a couple of hundred years, but they are still part of the greater imperial family. His position and his familial line gave him quite a lot of say in where he could go. However, he changed his mind on some advice to go to Yizhou because there was a corrupt administrator there. He went in as the governor. The administrator had already been killed due to a native rebel, but when he went there, he started to set up the infrastructure very, very well. He moved his capital around a lot, but he didn't have a particularly easy time all in all. His sons were kept in the capital by Dongjo, and Liu Yan was, as was Liu Biao to some extent as well, under suspicion of wanting to usurp the emperor because they kept using imperial signs and colours and things like that in how they operated their laws, and their chariots, for example, may have used certain things that only the emperor should be using, or more senior members than they of the royal family should have been using. However, Dongzhuo made a mistake. What he did was send Liu Jung, Liu Yan's son, to go and tell him off, and Liu Yan basically said to Liu Jung, "You're not going back there," and he kept him back, which meant that actually he had an heir, theoretically, that he could call upon no matter what, because his other children were still kept in the court. Eventually Dongzhuo would die, and Liu Yan had a relatively good relationship with Ma Teng, because Liu Yan's eldest son actually forged an alliance with Ma Teng, and Liu Yan sent 5,000 troops to help Ma Teng. However, this 5,000 troops was defeated and Liu Yan's children were killed. After that, Liu Yan carried on just pacifying this region, expanding it, but he had a series of bad luck. There were fires. Eventually he died in a relatively unstable situation that his son then inherited. And we're almost at that stage because he dies only a few years later from this. So that's enough for the history lesson. Let's get into the campaign and show off all these cool new things about this faction.
年少时，孩儿总是活在父辈的阴影之下。然而幼子终有长大成人的一天。届时吾辈必须独当一面，做出抉择。 是要继承父辈的基业，亦或另辟蹊径？命由我，此生伟绩，当由孤武自己书写。
言于古稀。若想福泽子孙，应行之事不可胜数。马腾与李傕鏖战不休，其盟友韩遂迟早弃齐而去。或许您可与之共立新盟，以图长安。若是能救下天子，便有了与天下诸侯一争长短的底气。东贼已死，此时正是自立为王的绝佳良机，或更有开疆辟土的可能。南蛮部落忙于同室操戈，无暇分神，但这样的乱局不会持续太久。您当趁此时机削弱敌人，再将他们的地盘纳入治下。主公，前路不长，余时不多，为子孙计，考虑放手一搏吧。
Okie dokie. So, it starts off with mentored wise heir. The work to ensure your heir is prepared for their future role is almost endless, and you labour tirelessly to ensure they live up to the demands your ambition makes of them. Today you take a step closer towards that goal, as an aspiration task is now complete. Your heir will thank you when the time comes to inherit. So this is basically telling us to go check here, so let's go check aspiration. Now, aspiration has certain levels to it. You complete certain tasks and they allow you to get certain benefits. So for example, this one, which the heir has already leveled up, so we've got a plus 75 character experience faction wide for 15 turns, which is really quite nice. If our heir was to win 3 duels, we would get recruitment posters, which would give 40% replenishment for the local county for 20 turns. He's already won 2, which is quite nice. He's only got 1 more to do. Have 3 armies with a maximum number of units. We get industrial restructuring, which is reduction in recruitment cost. Have the heir as the lead general. Complete 5 battles, not win, just be part of. Though of course you would like to win these battles, and you instantly level up your character. And he's already done 4 of these. So all of these are hugely beneficial. They will give you short-term, sometimes permanent benefits, which is really quite nice. Now, as you can see, there are certain trade-offs as well that you can get. Now, these trade-offs, as you can see, you can increase your aspiration, but lose some public order. So the more aspiration you have, the more you can spend on different things, which will make your heir's life easier, though it will make your life harder. So you need to think about that. Now, actually, Liu Yan is pretty good at dealing with many of these trade-offs just anyway, and you can sort of steamroll these just by expanding and doing well. But it does get to a stage where -10 public order can create more problems than it's worth, especially if you're advancing down into the Nanman areas. So you do need to start considering as you get to the higher levels. The upkeep for all units, I think, is terrifying. I just wouldn't do that the way I fight. Character salary, I'm not so fussed about. Trade influence, there are other ways to get money. The trade influence is not essential, I believe. Military supplies, again, not essential. You're fighting a relatively defensive campaign. Income from all sources hurts. Construction time, can live with that, and the satisfaction, I think, is unfortunate because, as you'll see, Liu Yan does not exactly have a coterie of talents under his command. You also have this here, the inheritance. So, different inheritance, as you can see here, everything from timely to forgotten, and these all give certain benefits. Now, if Liu Jung can inherit in 190 to 194, which is impossible because we're already in 194, I mean, unless we did it in the first turn, which, as you can see, you can do, then Liu Jung will get all of these benefits. +10 resolve, 15 authority, satisfaction, melee evasion, campaign movement range, recruitment bonuses for the special units, so much experience and extra trade agreements. It's magnificent. This one is more likely if you do the 194 start date, the delayed inheritance, where you can have +10% character salary and everything else is a little bit reduced. this sucks. Frankly, you really want to be, by the end of 198, you want Liu Jung to be in charge. If you do it at this stage, it's bad, and this is terrible. This is terrifying in how badly that will affect you. Anyway, on to inheritance. You also have extra tasks. So why do you have all of this to boost your aspiration? Because here you have inheritance, and you can spend your inheritance on doing certain things. Now, you do have to complete these missions to unlock them, but once they're unlocked, you can spend your inheritance here, and that will give you these benefits, okay? So that is how his faction mechanic works. Back to the missions. A setting sun. You have worked tirelessly, Lord Liu Yan, to establish yourself in this province and to follow your ambitions into higher and higher stages. However, time stops for no one, not even one worthy of the mantle of emperor, and as such old age creeps closer. You must seriously consider making preparations for your heir to take over your mantle, so that your kin may carry your legacy, standing on the shoulders of giants, no less. So, complete aspiration tasks to get bonuses, enable trade-offs to get bonuses, and keep an eye on the inheritance so that you get bonuses. Everything's about bonuses. Building memories, the first proper mission that we can deal with. As the sun sets on the wonderful governance of Liu Yan, a few loose ends remain to be tied. Your lands still require development, and your economy requires strengthening, and your armies bolstering. However, you must only focus on one thing at a time, lest you falter and fall. You should build new infrastructure to open the gates to a more new dynamic age. So construct or upgrade a building, and we get income from industry, which is really rather lovely. Now, having just a quick look here, you can see our situation. So we have King Wutugu, we have Shini, who are not particularly friendly. Wutugu is particularly warlike as well. We have Humao, who is basically there just to be whipped. And we have Zhanglu up here. Now, Zhanglu is our vassal. And he's in a relatively strong position. There's Zhang Ji over here, who is Zhang Xiu's superior. Zhang Xiu, of course, will end up sort of, I guess, sort of over here-ish eventually. Yeah, over here eventually. No, sorry, completely wrong. Over here eventually. When he's moved over there before he fights Cao Cao and he becomes a subordinate of Liu Biao. But right at this moment in time, he should be here amongst Zhang Ji's units, or here potentially. No, he's not. He's definitely over with Zhang Ji. Excellent. So he's your vassal. Zhang Ji is not your vassal, but he should be at peace with you and should be relatively well disposed towards you. Jiameng Pass is abandoned, so you can definitely take that yourself. There's Ma Teng here, and Ma Teng is a potential ally for the future. Up here you have Li Jue, who you have a relatively good relationship with. That will deteriorate very quickly. Very, very quickly if it follows the history, or if you follow the history. So, what else do we have going for us? Well, what we do have is generally low satisfaction, as you can see here. We have Liu Jung, of course. Now, Liu Jung has nothing particularly special about him. He's clever and incompetent and careless all at the same time, which I just find is a magnificent trio of almost contradictory traits. They come so close to being contradictory, but they are not quite. Now, Liu Jung wasn't perhaps as bad as Romance of the Three Kingdoms makes out, but he certainly did not really maintain the loyalty of his subordinates, and he inherited certain problems from Liu Yan, namely the Dongjo Bing, who were not particularly liked by the locals because they were non-Han, whilst the Dongjo Bing were Han, and they were from the east, whilst the locals from the west, and all these other things. And he wasn't very good at managing those problems. They all have a hatred for Li Jue because Li Jue has killed the elder brothers. Liu Yan himself, as we've seen this, he is a war leader, which is magnificent because a lot of the strategists, they have them filling out the bottom here. Like Xunyo really should be along the top here as well. But he is a really good general. However, you actually don't want him to be in charge of the army. You want it to be Liu Jung, because Liu Jung is the guy who needs to unlock all the benefits, right, by being a leader. So you might want to change him to be the leader and deal with any problems that brings, because it'll give you more longer term benefits. And that's how you have to play this. You're not playing this for Liu Yan's sake, you're playing this for Liu Jung's sake. We also have Farjung, as we discussed. He is cruel, cunning, perceptive. He's actually quite well balanced. He has some nice shiny armor, but nothing else. He's very, very young as well, which is quite nice. And his cunning is extremely high. This is someone who Zhuge Liang respected. Now, I don't believe Zhuge Liang was the intelligent god that he's portrayed as, but he certainly was extremely talented. And for him to respect Farjung, and to basically allow him to get away with effective war crimes and genocide on a massive scale, just because somebody slighted him because he was worth it to the greater good. I mean, that's how good this guy was. So we have him, but his satisfaction is low. He does have a history of not liking Liu Jung, so that's something to watch. We have Sung Mengan here, who is the wife of Liu Yan and Liu Jung's mother. We have Zhu Gui, who also has low satisfaction. Now, Zhu Gui is, I think his traits in this are not very realistic, frankly. He was basically down in Izhou to support, as a supporting bureaucrat, to the administrator, and he was moved around a lot. He was sent off to fight battles, and he didn't do very well in this field here. However, after getting roundly beaten up and not doing particularly well here, he was redeployed to Yozhou, which is up in the northeast, Liu Yu's former territory, Gongsun Zan's territory, for example, and then later Yuan Shi's territory, before Cao Cao eventually takes the whole area. And he became quite famous for fighting a series of defenses against the Xianbi raiders. So famous, in fact, that the locals, after he eventually died, erected a stele to him, giving an account of all the battles he fought. So this cowardly and careless, I think, is unfortunate for someone who was famous enough to have a lasting memorial to his bravery in defense. But hey, it doesn't matter. Whatever he did here, however, wasn't very good. And then, of course, there is Fan Min. Now, Fan Min, you can see he's age 75. I have done a lot of research for these guys here. And Fan Min, literally, I went into Rafe de Crespigny's biographical dictionary, and I checked other sources as well. And he's basically just the administrator of Ba. That's it. That's all he achieved. So you can see you don't exactly have a coterie of talents, but you have to make do, and you want to turn this place into an area because there is going to be chaos and other factions are going to fall apart. So you have an option to pick up some geniuses if you play your cards right. As far as ancillaries go, you always get a decent collection of things here. Robe of the Omen Maker. Farjung has stuff here. You can have this. That's going to make you a little bit better. And Fan Min, will you take... no, unfortunately, it's not for you. Shame. And all those other weapons, of course, they won't work. Now, we also, before I get into other stuff, they have changed stuff like Imperial Intrigue, which we can't do until Empress Yen comes of age. If you do want to know more about Imperial Intrigue, please have a look at my Yuan Shao or Cao Cao previews if you haven't already. It's a great, grand, strategic way of manipulating relationships across China, different to what Cao Cao does as well. It's very, very cool. I like this. It's especially effective. It's very difficult to show it off in a preview. It's especially effective over the long term of a Let's Play because you can really fuck over characters with that. Not characters, factions, sorry. Here we have the Faction Council. This has changed. As you can see, we have no one here right now, but if we were to appoint someone, for example, Grand Commandant, here, do you know what? Let's have Grand Excellency will be Zhu Gui. Grand Command will leave closed. So this should give us our guy. So Zhu Gui here. Shame. Next turn, next year, we'll be able to hold session. And each one of these characters, if you have them all filled, will have 2 options. Some of these options will cost you money, some of them might provide you with trade agreements, whatever, and you can only choose one. So if you have all 5 of these positions filled, you will have 10 options to choose from, 2 from each of the council members, but you can only choose 1 out of the whole 10, and then you have nothing else to do until the spring of the next year. It's a new way of doing the council, and I love it. It stops the just irritating, oh, build a new thing missions. You actually have useful things to do with this, which is absolutely fantastic. Other than that, everything else is pretty similar up here. As you can see, we have a good amount of stuff that needs filling here. I'm not going to bother because we're in a preview. Our chaps here are all still alive. They die really, really soon. If you are following the history. In the game, actually, I have not played this faction long enough to see them die, so I don't know if there are events that kill them, or whether it's a bug because this is early access where I didn't see them die. I don't know, but I have played, a couple of hours with each of the new upgraded factions or new factions, and I haven't yet seen them die. But I'm pretty certain they should through an event or something of the like, because they all get killed and then you're just left with Liu Jung. And that should happen very, very soon. But like I said, I haven't seen that yet, and that may be a bug, because this is early access. Other than that, you don't really have much else to do. You have a little bit of war going on with Humao, who you need to deal with immediately. Otherwise, what you can do is start to build yourself relationships with Ma Teng. He is someone you want to work with. He really is. I would say the same for Jiang Ji as well. Get a good relationship going here in the north, then you can focus on the south, because Wu Tugu will attack you. He's extremely warlike. Get yourself your trade agreements. How many do we have? We have 2. Fantastic. I'm just going to set these up for the sake of show. And let's do it with Zhang Liu as well. We want to get Zhang Liu doing his stuff because he's our vassal, and we want him all together supporting us. What we also want, because it never happens this way. Where's Zhang Liu? Never happens this way, but we want to call him to arms. There we go. Thank you. And we're going to give him some war coordination to come down here. No, we don't want him to come down here, actually. But you could obviously get him to come down and help. But you always want to check the war coordination for your vassals, because the AI nearly always forgets it. On this front, like I said, what I would do is switch him out to be the leader. You can see that's just expanded as far as we can go as well, which is really quite nice. I'm going to recruit... Am I going to recruit? No, I'm not going to recruit anything. But as you can see, we do have the Dongjo Bing defenders here and the Dongjo Bing marksmen. We have max of them because they are all in Liu Yan's retinue. Now, what these guys are like, they're guerrilla deployment, which is fantastic. They are skirmishers. They're pretty good range. It's not the longest range of all the potential archers, but it's pretty good. They're not bad overall archers, frankly. They're not bad. Poor in melee, but, they're archers. What do you expect? Over here, we have the Dongjo Bing defenders. Now, these guys are spearmen with a shield and a bow. Decent range. I love that flexibility. What I'm going to do is shift over here just to get stuff moving. Feng Min, because he is pissed off. Have one of these. Stop your moaning. And Feng Min as well. You are the administrator of Ba, so... we don't have Ba, do we? Because he has Ba. So Feng Min should be the administrator of Ba. So instead, I'm going to put him into Shu, which is our capital, just to keep everything under control. Stop him being super fussy about everything. And I think as well... Should I bring him out? No, let's bring out Farjung just so we can see him. Not doing this for the sake of any great strategic mind, just to show off different characters. Right, next turn. We're going to move through this. Normally with the previews I don't, but I do want to see these guys in battle. So we're just going to shift across to fight Jiangzhou. Don't take my turns as in any way the best way to do things. I'm literally just trying to beeline over there and to show off Farjung as well while we're at it, because I can. Okay. People of merit, as you can see, you can already start to recruit. Some not bad people, not great. Flowing gold, because the work to ensure your heir is prepared for their future role is almost endless, as you labour tirelessly to ensure they live up to the demands of the ambition that makes them. Today, you take a step closer to that goal, and aspiration task is now complete. So if we go over here, this flowing gold is now complete. Rewards have been unlocked. Over here, we still haven't unlocked anything here, unfortunately. But you can build up to it. Economic stimulus, 35% income from all sources will be magnificent. You're going to keep shifting over here just so we can attack that territory. It should be a lot of fun. And yep, I'm just going to move on just so we can see the battle. But as you can see, it's relatively easy to upgrade a lot of the aspirations. The big thing is knowing when to abdicate with Liu Yan. If you leave it too long, you just keep hamstringing yourself. The problem is Liu Yan is really good and Liu Jung is really mediocre. Your heir's prospects will change, as you can see, because we're now going into the winter of 194. If we do not abdicate now, there are no benefits for the 194 thing, and we go to the 195 to 198 benefit system for inheritance. Got some armor as well. Let's have a look. What armor did we get? We got thick leather hide. Well, here, have that. Enjoy, old man. Cool, sorted. Let's get into this battle. Decisive victory, of course, is a decisive victory. I'm not going to do a night battle just so we can show off all the characters in all of their glory. We are up against Hu Mao himself. He doesn't exactly have good soldiers, so I will see you in the fight. Okay, so we've got some reinforcements kicking off over here. We've got our army, I think. It's quite a nice place to fight. I'll shift over here and just smash these guys very, very quickly, and I'm going to turn all of these where they should be. Yep, good. Okay, now let's have a look at our new troops. So first of all, here are the Dongjo Bing defenders. As you can see, a decent amount of armor on them. They're of course medium spear, decent leather armor, good round shield, long spear, and a bow on their back. They are really quite useful. You can see fire arrows, lots of formations available to them. No turtle, unfortunately, but the spear isn't big enough, I should think. Behind, we have the Dongjo Bing marksmen. Dongjo Bing marksmen, medium bows, so they have, again, relatively good leather armor. These guys carry a dao, a saber, but you don't really want to be using them in fighting unless you have to. Though they are not the worst cavalry to do so, cavalry archers to have so. Here is Farjung, nice model, very, very blue. Here we have Liu Yan, both of them with their feather fans. And then Liu Jung, who is actually going to be doing the fighting for us. The prospects of him fighting are not great. What I would like is you boys here, wreck them. You and you, actually, I'm going to leave back. Nah, do you know what? You and you, you're going to be here to support. As are you and you. I want fire arrows to stay out of this. Cav over here. You're going to be with the cavalry. You two are going to be there. Start battle, go. Wreck these guys as they come. You're going to need to be loose and I need fire. You're going to need to be loose and I'm going to need fire. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Charge. You, my man. Ride round here. There we go. Liu Jung, kill. He just has nature's ally. He's not particularly good at fighting, as you can see. We're raining arrows down on these guys. Cav are going to chop these people to pieces. This is a relatively straightforward battle. It's baby's first battle, except your first battle comes a few turns in, unlike when you are most other factions where you get it straight away. In you go. Ride round this way. Ride. We have so many archers. that we are ripping these people apart. Go on, in you go. Charge here, charge here, charge here. You've seen them off, stay here. You have this cool move here, mock. Now, if we were to mock this chap, for example, we're going to run up really close. That's the downside of this. But Farjung can actually stay in a fight. He's like your cross between a sentinel, almost. You know how you get like Zhou Yu, for example, as like a fighting strategist. Farjung is very, very similar. And so he can do a decent amount of damage. Mock does reduction morale, reduction melee attack rate, and 12k damage over 60 seconds. That is not to be sniffed at. Our man here is Stifling Deluge as well, which means that he will prevent the enemy characters from doing any of their cool tricks. Farjung, were you to give him a weapon, he could fight. He really could fight. He has a decent amount of health. I wouldn't necessarily keep him in a fight long term, or if you had any other options, but he can fight, and that's the important thing. Kumao is going down. He's taking his bloody time about it, but he is going down. What we do have to deal with is these chaps over here, who have decided they want to come. Right, reform. Reform. You boys, come back. I should have been paying attention over here. Kill. Kill, 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 kill. You. Kill. Right, he's broken. Cav over here, please. You're coming here. And... yeah, you can come over here too. Good guys. Right. You... slide around this flank. We don't need the fire arrows anymore. You can come back and move over here as well. Archers, start shooting. You're here. You're here. Get out. And shield wall. Form up. Cav, go kill. Cav, you're shifting here. You're shifting here. Archers are killing. Advance. Rain death. You're gonna go back here. You are raining death. You are all the way around. You are all the way around as well. Do you know what? Get stuck in. Get stuck in. You guys charge. I think we've got them. How are you doing, Farjung? You've seen him off? Excellent, my man. Excellent. Come here. We need you to help deal with this problem. So, they've been dealt with. Don't need to do that anymore. You can come in here and support. You boys as well. Charge. Don't be so bloody useless. Smashed. Because of the snow, these guys are very, very tired. Which isn't ideal, I have to say. However, could be worse. Get him. Get him, get him, get him. Pin him down. Pin him down. Back out now. Whoop. Haha. The AI can be really tricked like that. It's slightly cheaty, but you can just force the AI to stop, present arms, and then you can turn around and deal with them. Now, this has been dealt with. Ride. Get in, get in, get in. You as well. Ride. In you go. In you go. You've got that sorted. You boys advance up here. You can advance up as well. They've been seen off. In we go, lads. In we go. Charge, charge, charge. Cav as well. Done. Done, done, done. Very nice, very easy. Decisive victory. So, like I said, it takes 3 turns before you to get into your first battle, but the first battle is very, very easy. Even there, where I wasn't really paying attention, I was trying to muck around with the new characters, and they ambushed me from behind. I barely lost any men. Very straightforward. Your Dongjo Bing soldiers are incredible. Humao, how dare you? Die. He's too handsome. Can't allow that. Hu Mao gone, experienced general, so we have now completed another task, as you can see here, which gives us private tutelage, which instantly levels up the character. So yeah, it's all really quite nice. Worldwide contacts as well. Like there's lots of stuff going on here, lots and lots of stuff going on here. But ladies and gentlemen, that is it for this preview. As you can see, pretty straightforward. Smash in at Ba, head up, finish off Hu Mao up here, and start to build an army down here probably with Farjung. I wouldn't have Farjung in this army, to be honest. I was just doing it to show him off. Build an army down here with Farjung, have Farjung deal with the Nanman, whilst Liu Jung deals with the chaps in the north. Then you can swing Liu Jung down, because this area should be relatively safe from that point onwards. You do have to watch for the likes of Jinhua Sanjie and Shamoku and people who are over in these mountains too. But focus on Wutugu first. He is the most warlike and the one who's going to provide you with the most problems. But ladies and gentlemen, that is it. I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.